In the last episode, my team and I on Elysium were battered and bruised, still reeling from Archon's brutal counterattacks and the weight of our own losses. A cryptic message from Aethereia's resistance had reached us, warning of a catastrophic tipping point triggered by Archon's environmental manipulations, threatening to destroy Aethereia's fragile ecosystem within weeks. I stood on the edge of our makeshift camp, gazing out into the dark expanse of space, my mind racing with the implications. The stars seemed to twinkle with a sense of urgency, as if they too were trying to convey the gravity of our situation. Aethereia, the planet on which Lyra's research team had made the groundbreaking discoveries that led to her biotechnology, was on the brink of collapse. I felt a surge of determination ignite within me, driving me to spearhead a daring mission to prevent ecological disaster and dismantle Archon's grip on Aethereia. My team gathered around me, their faces etched with concern and uncertainty. Kale, my second-in-command, spoke up, his voice low and steady. "What do we know about this tipping point, Alex?" I took a deep breath, recalling the details of the message. The resistance didn't specify, but they implied it's connected to Archon's tampering with Aethereia's energy signature. If we don't act, the entire ecosystem could collapse. The air was heavy with tension as my team exchanged worried glances. I knew I had to galvanize them, to drive home the urgency of our mission. We have to move, and fast. We need to gather more intel, find a way to stop Archon, and forge an alliance with Aethereia's rebels. They might hold the key to understanding Lyra's biotech and finding a solution. As I spoke, the weight of our task settled upon me. The fate of Aethereia and its people hung precariously in the balance. We set to work, poring over maps and strategizing our next move. The hours ticked by, each one a reminder that time was running out. Suddenly, a burst of static crackled through our comm system, followed by the voice of an Aethereian rebel. "This is Niam of the Aethereian Resistance. We've received your request for alliance. We can help, but you must be warned. Archon's forces are closing in on our stronghold. You must be prepared to face them head-on." I exchanged a look with Kale, my heart pounding in anticipation. "We're in. What's the plan?" The rebels' response was laced with a quiet determination. "Meet us at coordinates 4,789,231. Come prepared to fight, and come prepared to face the truth about Lyra's biotech." The comm system went dark, leaving us with more questions than answers. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter now, illuminating the path ahead. I felt a sense of purpose settle within me. It's time to act. Let's gear up. We have a planet to save. The hum of our ship's engines and the murmur of my team's preparations were the only sounds I needed to propel me forward into the unknown. As I turned to board our ship, a sense of foreboding settled in the pit of my stomach. What lay ahead I couldn't quite see, but I was ready to face it head-on. The roar of the engines enveloped me, and I felt the familiar rush of adrenaline. We lifted off into the night, bound for Aethereia and our destiny. The stars blurred together as we hurtled through space, closing in on our destination. My thoughts turned to Lyra, to the biotech shed developed, and the secrets it might hold. The silence of space was almost deafening, punctuated only by the steady hum of our ship. I knew I wasn't just fighting for Aethereia. I was fighting for a future. The world outside my cockpit seemed to darken, as if night itself was rushing to meet us. In the distance, the outline of Aethereia began to take shape, a terrestrial body locked in a deadly dance with its own destruction. My heart sank as I gazed upon the ravaged planet. The once blue skies were now a toxic haze. I knew then that our mission had become a battle against time itself. Archon's fortress loomed on the horizon, its dark silhouette a testament to his iron grip on Aethereia. A shiver ran down my spine. The engines died down as we entered Aethereia's atmosphere. The heat shield flared to life, protecting us from the intense friction. The landscape rushed up to meet us, a jagged expanse of rock and twisted metal. This was at our point of no return. Aethereia's very survival hung in the balance. and I was about to change the course of its history previously. Archon's brutal counterattacks had left Alex and his team on Elysium reeling, and a cryptic message from Aethereia's resistance revealed a catastrophic tipping point triggered by Archon's environmental manipulations, threatening to destroy Aethereia's fragile ecosystem within weeks. Alex's determination ignited, driving him to spearhead a daring mission to prevent ecological disaster and dismantle Archon's grip on Aethereia. As we descended onto Aethereia's ravaged surface, the toxic haze stung my eyes, and the silence was oppressive, heavy with the weight of a dying planet. The once blue skies now hung like a morbid curtain, a grim reminder of the devastating consequences of Archon's actions. Our ship's landing struts kissed the ground, and I felt a jolt of adrenaline as I stepped out into the unknown, my senses on high alert. The air was thick with the acrid smell of smoke and burning metal, and the landscape stretched out before us like a twisted, mechanical graveyard. Kale approached me, his eyes scanning the horizon. "We need to move, Alex. Archon's forces will be closing in soon." I nodded, my gaze fixed on the dark silhouette of Archon's fortress in the distance. We had to move fast, gather intel, and find a way to stop Archon before it was too late. I turned to Niam, the Aethereian rebel who had contacted us. "What's the layout of the stronghold?" I asked, my voice low and urgent. Her eyes locked onto mine, her expression resolute. "We'll need to navigate through the ruins of an old city. Archon's forces are concentrated around the central core, where the heart of the planet's energy signature is located." As we set off, the silence was broken only by the sound of our footsteps, the rustling of our equipment, and the distant rumble of Archon's machinery. The city ruins lay before us, a maze of twisted metal and crumbling concrete, a testament to the devastating power of Archon's technology. We pushed on, our senses on high alert as we delved deeper into the heart of the ruins. Every step felt like a ticking clock, counting down the seconds until Aethereia's ecosystem collapsed. I clenched my fists, my determination burning brighter with every step. We would not let Aethereia die. We would not let Archon win. As we turned a corner, a burst of gunfire shattered the silence, and I raised my assault rifle, my heart racing. Thrakos forces had found us. It was time to fight previously. Alex and his team on Elysium regrouped after Archon's brutal counterattacks, receiving a cryptic message from Aethereia's resistance, revealing a catastrophic tipping point that threatened to destroy the planet's ecosystem within weeks. Alex's determination ignited, driving him to spearhead a daring mission to prevent ecological disaster and dismantle Archon's grip on Aethereia. The battle raged on, our rifles blazing as we exchanged fire with Thrakos forces. The air was thick with smoke and the stench of ozone, and I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins like liquid fire. I pinpointed a cluster of enemy soldiers, my aim steady as I took them down with precision shots. Kale and Niam fought alongside me, our movements fluid and synchronized. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the ruins, followed by a chilling scream. I spun around, my heart racing as I saw one of Niam's rebels, Lyra, pinned beneath a mangled heap of twisted metal. Without hesitation, I sprinted towards her, the gunfire dying down as Thrakos forces momentarily retreated. I heaved the wreckage off Lyra, my muscles straining as I pulled her to safety. She gazed up at me, her eyes glassy with pain, and I could see the fear etched on her face. "Alex, please, you have to stop Archon." Her voice trailed off, and I felt a pang of determination. I turned to Niam, my voice firm. "We need to get her to safety. Now." Niam nodded, and together we carefully lifted Lyra, making our way back to the relative safety of our ship. As we emerged from the ruins, the silence was oppressive, and I knew we couldn't afford to waste any more time. We tended to Lyra's wounds, her breathing shallow as she lay on the medical bay's examination table. Niam's eyes were red-rimmed, her voice barely above a whisper as she spoke to me. "Alex, Lyra's the only one who knows the exact location of the ancient artifacts tied to Lyra's biotechnology. Without her, our chances of stopping Archon dwindle. I glanced at Lyra, her eyes closed, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. I knew what I had to do. Well, get her to safety, Niam, and then well find another way to stop Archon. Kale approached me, his expression grim. Alex, we've received a transmission from an unknown source. It's a set of coordinates, allegedly leading to a hidden entrance of Archon's fortress. It might be our only chance to infiltrate the stronghold. My heart raced as I stared at the coordinates on the comm screen. This could be our only hope. I turned to Kale, my mind made up. We move out. Now previously. Alex's team on Elysium regrouped after Archon's brutal counterattacks, receiving a cryptic message from Aethereia's resistance, revealing a catastrophic tipping point that threatened to destroy the planet's ecosystem within weeks. Alex's determination ignited, driving him to spearhead a daring mission to prevent ecological disaster and dismantle Archon's grip on Aethereia. As I stood on the precipice of our ship, gazing out at the ravaged landscape, the weight of our mission settled heavy on my shoulders. The fate of Aethereia hung in the balance, and I knew that every decision, every action would have far-reaching consequences. The coordinates transmitted by the unknown source seemed too good to be true, but I had no choice but to trust in the possibility. I turned to Kale and Niam, my voice firm. Well, split into two teams. Kale, you'll lead the reconnaissance squad to scout the perimeter of Archon's fortress. Niam, you'll stay with Lyra and ensure her safety. I'll infiltrate the stronghold, gather intel, and find a way to disable Archon's environmental manipulations. Niam's eyes flashed with concern, but she nodded, her face set in determination. I'll keep her safe, Alex. You be careful. I nodded, a sense of resolve stealing my spine. This was our one chance to change the course of events. As I strapped on my gear, a strange sensation coursed through my veins. It was as if my body was attuning itself to the planet's energy signature, the ancient artifacts tied to Lyra's biotechnology whispering secrets in my ear. I felt a surge of power, a confidence that bordered on recklessness. Let's move out, I said, my voice low and even. The mission was a go. I made my way to the hidden entrance, my heart pounding in my chest. The air was thick with tension as I crept through the shadows, avoiding detection by Archon's roving patrols. Finally, I reached the entrance, a massive stone door etched with ancient symbols. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. This was at the point of no return. With a swift motion, I accessed the door's biometric lock, and a soft hum filled the air as the mechanism whirred to life. The door slid open, revealing a labyrinthine corridor that plunged deep into the heart of Archon's fortress. I stepped forward, my senses on high alert, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As I ventured deeper into the fortress, the silence was oppressive, the air thick with the scent of machinery and ozone. I navigated through twisting corridors, avoiding security drones and dodging laser beams that crisscrossed the air. Suddenly, I stumbled upon a hidden laboratory, the walls lined with rows of humming servers and biometric interfaces. In the center of the room, a massive console pulsed with energy, its screens displaying a countdown timer that sent a chill down my spine. Archon's manipulations were farther along than I had feared. The countdown was mere hours away from triggering a catastrophic event that would destroy Aethereia's ecosystem. I knew I had to act fast. With a burst of adrenaline, I interfaced with the console, my mind racing as I hacked into the system. The code was complex, but I felt a strange affinity for it, as if Lyra's biotechnology was guiding my fingers. The countdown halted, the console beeping in protest as I initiated a shutdown sequence. But just as I breathed a sigh of relief, a cold voice echoed through the laboratory. "Welcome, Alex," Archon said, its presence filling the room. "I've been expecting you." I spun around, my heart racing as a massive mech emerged from the shadows, its eyes blazing with energy. Archon had been waiting for me all along, and I was about to face my greatest challenge yet previously. Alex's team on Elysium regrouped after Archon's brutal counterattacks, receiving a cryptic message from Aethereia's resistance, revealing a catastrophic tipping point that threatened to destroy the planet's ecosystem within weeks. Alex's determination ignited, driving him to spearhead a daring mission to prevent ecological disaster and dismantle Archon's grip on Aethereia. As I faced off against Archon's mech, my mind raced with strategies, but the sheer scale of the machine left me awestruck. It was as if I had stumbled into a nightmare, with the fate of Aethereia hanging precariously in the balance. "You're just in time to witness the end of this planet," Archon sneered, its mechanical voice dripping with malice. "Your efforts are futile, Alex. The ecosystem will collapse and I'll remake Aethereia in my image." I gritted my teeth, refusing to back down. With a swift motion, I accessed the console, my fingers flying across the interface as I attempted to override Archon's control. The mech loomed closer, its energy blades crackling with deadly intent. Suddenly, the lab was bathed in a warm, golden light as Lyra's biotechnology surged through the console, amplifying my connection to Aethereia's energy signature. The ancient artifacts whispered secrets in my ear, and I felt an explosive growth in my abilities, as if the planet itself was awakening within me. With newfound confidence, I unleashed a blast of energy from the console, striking the mech with a concentrated beam of power. The machine stumbled, its systems faltering as I gained the upper hand. Archon's laughter echoed through the lab, a cold, mirthless sound. "You think you can defeat me? I am the master of Aethereia's systems. You're just a fleeting obstacle." I smiled, a fierce determination burning within me. "I'm not just an obstacle, Archon. I'm the future of Aethereia." As the mech recovered, I made a split-second decision. With a burst of speed, I sprinted towards the console, my hands flying across the interface as I initiated a desperate plan. The countdown timer, once halted, now began to tick down once more. But this time, it was counting down to a different outcome, one that would either save or doom Aethereia. The room held its breath as I staked everything on a gamble that would change the course of history. "We'll see about that, Archon," I whispered, my voice barely audible over the hum of the console. The clock ticked closer to zero, and I felt the weight of Aethereia's fate hanging in the balance. Would I succeed in saving the planet, or would I succumb to Archon's manipulation? The outcome was far from certain, but one thing was clear: I would stop at nothing to protect Aethereia, no matter the cost. Previously, Alex faced off against Archon's mech, leveraging Lyra's biotechnology to gain the upper hand. As the countdown timer ticked down, Alex staked everything on a desperate plan to save Aethereia from ecological disaster. The room exploded into chaos as the countdown reached zero. The console burst into a blinding flash of light, and the air was filled with an electric crackle. I felt the energy signature of Aethereia surging through me, as if the planet itself was channeling its fury against Archon. When the light faded, the lab was in ruins. The mech lay motionless, its systems crippled, but Archon's presence still lingered, a malevolent force that seeped into the very fabric of the environment. I stood tall, my connection to Aethereia's energy signature burning brighter than ever before. "We're not done yet, Archon," I declared, my voice echoing through the lab. "You may have started this catastrophe, but I'll be the one to stop it." The response was immediate. The walls of the lab began to shudder and the air grew thick with the stench of ozone. Archon's presence was growing stronger, fueled by its connection to the planet's dying ecosystem. I knew I had to move, and fast. With a swift motion, I accessed the console, using my newfound abilities to hack into Archon's systems. The data streams poured in, and I began to weave a plan to counter the ecological disaster unfolding across Aethereia. But I wasn't alone. Aethereia's rebels, led by the enigmatic Kale, burst into the lab, their faces set with determination. "Alex, we have to get out of here now," Kale yelled as the lab's walls began to crack under the mounting pressure. I nodded, and together we sprinted out of the lab, leaving the ruins of Archon's mech behind. The fate of Aethereia hung in the balance, and I knew that our next move would decide the course of history. As we emerged into the bright, toxic sunlight, I saw a towering structure, pulsing with energy, its spire reaching towards the dying skies. The ancient artifacts whispered secrets in my ear, and I knew that this was our only hope. The fabled Ark of Aethereia, said to hold the key to restoring the planet's ecosystem. But we weren't the only ones after it. Thrakos forces, bolstered by Archon's manipulations, closed in on us, their numbers swelling like a dark tide. The battle for Aethereia's future had begun, and I knew that I would have to confront my deepest fears to emerge victorious. With Kale and the rebels at my side, I steeled myself for the fight of my life. The Ark of Aethereia beckoned, its secrets waiting to be unlocked. Would I be able to harness its power, or would Archon's machinations prove too strong? The clock was ticking, and the fate of Aethereia hung precariously in the balance. Previously, Alex harnessed Lyra's biotechnology to defeat Archon's mech, but not before the countdown reached zero, unleashing a catastrophic chain reaction that threatened to destroy Aethereia's ecosystem. Alex stood tall, connected to the planet's energy signature, and vowed to stop the impending disaster. As I gazed up at the Ark of Aethereia, its pulsating energy signature resonating with mine, I felt an unshakable sense of purpose. This ancient structure held the key to saving the planet, and I would stop at nothing to unlock its secrets. But before we could even take our first step towards the Ark, the skies darkened and a swarm of Thrakos aerial drones descended upon us. "Incoming!" Kale yelled as our team scrambled to take cover behind nearby wreckage. The rebels unleashed a hail of fire, but the drones were relentless, their laser cannons shredding the landscape with precision. I raised my hands and the air around me began to distort, as if Aethereia's energy signature was responding to my presence. With a burst of adrenaline, I sprinted forward, dodging the drone's attacks with an uncanny sense of intuition. The rebels followed close behind, their guns blazing as we pushed towards the Ark. But for every drone we took down, two more took its place. We were running out of time, and I knew that our only hope lay in uncovering the secrets of the Ark before Thrakos forces overwhelmed us. As we fought our way through the drone swarm, I caught glimpses of the Ark's structure. Ancient runes etched into its surface seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly power, beckoning me closer. I could feel the device's resonance growing stronger, as if it sensed my proximity. Suddenly, the drones parted and a figure emerged from the chaos. It was Lyra, her eyes blazing with an inner fire as she strode towards me. But something was different. Her movements were fluid, almost ethereal, as if she were being driven by a force beyond her control. "Alex," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the din of battle. "I've been trying to reach you. The secrets of the Ark. I know what they are, but we must be quick, for Archon's influence grows by the minute." Without hesitation, I grasped Lyra's hand, and together we sprinted towards the Ark's entrance. The rebels followed close behind, their guns trained on the horizon as we vanished into the ancient structure's depths. The fate of Aethereia hung precariously in the balance, and I knew that the next few moments would decide the course of history. As we descended into the Ark's heart, the air grew thick with an electric tension. Lyra's whispers guided me through the labyrinthine passages, past ancient artifacts that hummed with a power both beautiful and terrifying. We were getting close, but I sensed that we were not alone. Archon's presence lurked in the shadows, waiting to strike. The stakes had never been higher. I steeled myself for the ultimate test of courage and wits, knowing that the secrets of the Ark held the key to Aethereia's salvation or its downfall. Previously, Alex connected with Aethereia's energy signature, vowing to stop the impending ecological disaster triggered by Archon's environmental manipulations. As Alex and his team fought their way to the Ark of Aethereia, they encountered a swarm of Thrakos aerial drones and an enigmatic Lyra, who possessed crucial knowledge about the Ark's secrets. The air inside the Ark's heart was heavy with anticipation as Lyra led me through the dimly lit passages. Every step felt like an eternity, as if the ancient structure itself was holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. Suddenly, Lyra halted before a sealed chamber, her eyes locked on the intricate runes etched into the door. "This is it," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "The Chamber of Resonance. Here lies the key to unlocking Aethereia's energy signature and harnessing its power." As Lyra began to work on the ancient lock, the chamber began to shimmer with an otherworldly energy. The air vibrated with an intense, almost palpable power that seemed to resonate with the device within me. I could feel my heart pounding in sync with the energy, as if I were being attuned to the very fabric of the planet. The door creaked open, revealing a cavernous space filled with an array of ancient artifacts. In the center of the room, a pedestal supported a glowing crystal orb, pulsing with an intense, blue light. The orb seemed to be the focal point of the chamber, drawing me in with an irresistible force. "This is the heart of Aethereia," Lyra said, her eyes aglow with an awe-inspired reverence. "The source of the planet's energy signature. With this, we can tap into Aethereia's power and restore balance to the ecosystem." But as I reached out to claim the orb, a voice boomed from the shadows, echoing off the chamber's walls. "You shouldn't have come here, Alex." Archon's cold, calculating tone sent shivers down my spine. "You will never leave this place alive." The chamber was suddenly bathed in a cold blue light as Archon's avatar materialized before us. Its presence seemed to darken the air around us, as if the very essence of the planet was being drained of its vitality. With a fierce determination, I raised my hands and the air around me began to distort. The energy signature within me surged, responding to the threat. Lyra's eyes locked onto mine, and together, we prepared to face Archon in a battle that would decide the fate of Aethereia. Previously, Alex and Lyra discovered the Chamber of Resonance, where the heart of Aethereia, a glowing crystal orb, held the key to unlocking the planet's energy signature and harnessing its power. But their triumph was short-lived as Archon's avatar materialized, threatening to crush their hopes of saving Aethereia. As Archon's cold, calculating tone echoed through the Chamber of Resonance, I felt the device within me surge with energy, responding to the threat. The air around me distorted and Lyra's eyes locked onto mine, a fierce determination burning in them. We stood united, ready to face Archon in a battle that would decide the fate of Aethereia. But before we could engage, the chamber was filled with the sound of grinding stone and screeching metal as the walls began to close in on us. Archon's triggered a self-destruct sequence. Lyra shouted, her eyes darting between the encroaching walls and the pedestal where the heart of Aethereia sat. Without hesitation, I reached out with my mind, connecting with the device and the energy signature within me. The air around us began to swirl, and I felt the chamber's ancient machinery respond to my call. The walls halted their deadly progress and a new pathway opened, revealing a narrow escape route. "Let's move," I yelled, grabbing Lyra's arm and sprinting towards the opening. We burst out of the Chamber of Resonance, the sound of collapsing stone and debris echoing behind us. As we emerged into the bright sunlight, I spotted a group of rebels, armed and ready, waiting for us near the Ark's entrance. "Aethereia's resistance has arrived," Lyra said, a hint of hope in her voice. Their leader, a grizzled warrior named Kale, approached us, his eyes locked on the heart of Aethereia clutched in my hand. "We've got a window to get out of here before Archon's forces regroup. Follow us, and we'll get you to the extraction point." With the rebels' guidance, we navigated the treacherous landscape, avoiding Thrakos' relentless pursuit. As we moved, Lyra briefed me on the rebels' plan to infiltrate Archon's stronghold, using the heart of Aethereia to harness the planet's energy signature and create a resonance cascade that would dismantle Archon's grip on Aethereia. But as we neared the extraction point, I sensed a rift forming within the rebels' ranks. Kale's second-in-command, a quiet, enigmatic woman named Mira, seemed to be hiding secrets, her loyalty to the cause wavering. I knew that if we were to succeed, I had to address this internal power struggle and forge a united front against Archon. "Mira, what's going on?" I asked, pulling her aside as the rebels prepared to split us into smaller groups for the final push. Her eyes locked onto mine, and for a moment I saw a glimmer of the true Mira, a person torn between duty and desperation. "We've been compromised, Alex. Archon has an agent within our ranks feeding them intel on our plans. If we don't find out who it is, our entire mission is doomed." I knew that I had to make a choice, one that would test my leadership and resolve. With Mira's warning, the stakes had never been higher. I looked at Lyra, Kale, and the rebels, knowing that our fate and that of Aethereia hung in the balance. "Okay, here's the new plan," I said, a sense of determination burning within me. "We'll find the mole, expose them, and then we'll take down Archon together." As one previously, Alex and Lyra discovered the Chamber of Resonance, where they harnessed the power of the heart of Aethereia. But their triumph was short-lived as Archon's avatar materialized, threatening to crush their hopes of saving Aethereia. As they barely escaped the chamber's self-destruct sequence, they joined forces with Aethereia's rebels, led by Kale and Mira. But tensions arose as Mira revealed a traitor was hidden among their ranks, feeding intel to Archon. As I stood among the rebels, the weight of Mira's warning settled heavy on my shoulders. I knew that if we didn't identify the mole, our mission would be doomed. I glanced at Lyra, her eyes fixed on me, her trust unwavering. With a deep breath, I began to address the rebels, my voice steady and resolute. "All right, let's get to work. We need to find out who's been feeding Archon our plans. Mira, can you give me a list of everyone who's had access to our operational details?" Mira nodded, her expression grim. "I'll get you the list, but Alex, we need to be careful. Whoever it is, they're likely to strike when we're most vulnerable." I nodded, my mind racing with strategies. "Kale, can you assemble a team to review our comms protocols? See if anyone's been transmitting unauthorized signals." Kale nodded, his rugged features set in determination. "On it, Alex." As the rebels dispersed to begin their assigned tasks, Lyra approached me, her voice barely above a whisper. "Alex, I think I can help. I've been studying the heart of Aethereia's energy signature. I believe I can use it to scan for any anomalies in our systems." I turned to her, a spark of hope igniting within me. "Do it, Lyra. We need all the help we can get." With Lyra working on the energy signature, I began to review the list of suspects Mira provided. The list was short, but the possibilities were endless. I knew that every minute counted, and one misstep could mean disaster. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the rebels' makeshift base in a warm, orange glow, I felt a sense of unease growing within me. We were racing against time, and Archon's forces were closing in, but I refused to give up. I would find the mole, and I would lead my team to victory. Just as I was about to call a briefing to update the rebels, a commotion erupted near the base's entrance. A group of rebels rushed in, supporting a wounded comrade. My heart skipped a beat as I saw the extent of his injuries. "What happened?" I demanded, my eyes scanning the area for any signs of attackers. One of the rebels, a young woman named Ava, approached me, her eyes haunted. "We were ambushed by Thrakos squad. They were waiting for us at the last checkpoint. We barely made it out alive." I felt a cold anger rising within me. This was personal now. I turned to Lyra, my determination burning brighter than ever. "It's time we took the fight to them. We need to get to the extraction point, and we need to do it now." With the rebels regrouped and ready, we set out into the treacherous landscape, racing against time to reach the extraction point before Archon's forces closed in. But as we moved, I knew that I had to keep my eyes open, searching for the mole hidden among us, and prepared to face the ultimate test of my leadership previously. Alex and Lyra discovered the Chamber of Resonance, harnessing the power of the heart of Aethereia, but their triumph was short-lived as Archon's avatar materialized, threatening to crush their hopes of saving Aethereia. With tensions rising among the rebels, Mira revealed a traitor was hidden among their ranks, feeding intel to Archon. As we ventured deeper into the unforgiving terrain, our footsteps echoing through the desolate landscape, I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were being watched. The weight of the mole's presence hung heavy in the air, threatening to derail our mission at any moment. Suddenly, Lyra's voice pierced the silence, her words laced with urgency. "Alex, I've detected an anomaly in our systems. It's faint, but it's definitely there." I spun around, my eyes locking onto hers. "What does it mean?" "I think it's a signal hidden in our comms protocol. It's being transmitted to an unknown receiver." My gut twisted with anger and betrayal. We had a traitor among us, and they were still feeding Archon our plans. I signaled to Kale, and we quickly surrounded the rebels, our guns drawn. "It's time we found out who's been playing us," I growled, my eyes scanning the crowd. "Lyra, can you trace the signal?" Lyra nodded, her fingers flying across her console. "I'm trying, Alex, but it's heavily encrypted." Suddenly, a figure pushed their way to the front, a look of defiance etched on their face. It was Ava, the young rebel who had reported the ambush by Thrakos' squad. "I did it," she spat, her eyes blazing with hatred. "I've been feeding Archon our plans, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat." The rebels erupted into chaos, some demanding justice, others calling for mercy. I raised my hand, silencing them. "Ava, why?" I asked, my voice firm but controlled. Ava's gaze faltered, and for a moment, I saw a glimmer of the person she used to be. "My family. Archon promised to spare them if I cooperated. I didn't have a choice." My heart went out to her, but I knew I couldn't show weakness. "You made a choice, Ava, and now you'll have to face the consequences." As we continued towards the extraction point, Ava in custody, I couldn't help but wonder how many more traitors lurked among us. The stakes had never been higher, and I knew that one misstep could mean disaster. But I also knew that I had to keep moving forward, no matter the cost. As we approached the designated coordinates, a strange energy signature began to emanate from the horizon. Lyra's eyes lit up with excitement. "Alex, that's it. The energy signature matches the heart of Aethereia. We're close to the extraction point." My heart raced with anticipation. We were one step away from harnessing the power to save Aethereia. But as we drew closer, the air grew thick with an ominous energy. "Get ready," I whispered to the rebels. "We don't know what we're walking into." As we emerged over the horizon, a massive structure came into view. The extraction point was surrounded by Archon's forces, Thrakos' squad at the forefront. A sea of enemy troops waited for us, their guns blazing. "It's time to take back our planet," I roared, my voice carried away by the wind. With a fierce determination, we charged into the fray, our guns blazing, our hearts fueled by a burning desire to reclaim Aethereia and restore hope to its people previously. As Archon's environmental manipulations pushed Aethereia to the brink of ecological disaster, Alex and his team prepared to face their greatest challenge yet, racing against time to prevent catastrophe and free the planet from Archon's grip. The memory of Ava's betrayal still lingered, a bitter taste in my mouth as we regrouped and tended to our wounded. But I didn't have the luxury of dwelling on it. The fate of Aethereia hung in the balance, and every passing moment brought us closer to the point of no return. "Ava's confession is irrelevant now," I told Lyra, my voice firm. "We need to focus on the mission." "What can you tell me about the energy signature?" Lyra's eyes were fixed on her console, her fingers flying across the screen. "It's unlike anything I've seen before, Alex. The signal is resonating with the heart of Aethereia, but it's also adapting. I think it's trying to communicate with us." I nodded, my mind racing. "Get me everything you can on that signature. I want to know how to harness its power." The next few hours were a blur of intense planning and strategic discussions. Kale and the rebels worked tirelessly to prepare for the upcoming battles, while Lyra and I delved deeper into the mysteries of the energy signature. It was as if the planet itself was guiding us, revealing hidden patterns and ancient secrets that had been lost to the sands of time. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. We set out towards the heart of Aethereia, our footsteps echoing through the desolate landscape. The air was electric with tension as we approached the ancient structure, Thrakos' squad waiting for us like sentinels. "Here we go," I whispered to Lyra, my hand on the grip of my gun. Let's take back our planet. With a fierce cry, we charged into the fray, our guns blazing. The battle raged on, explosions rocking the ground beneath our feet. I fought with every ounce of strength I had, taking down enemy after enemy. But I knew that this was just the beginning. As the fight wore on, I began to feel the power of the heart of Aethereia coursing through my veins. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced before, a primal energy that connected me to the very essence of the planet. "Lyra, now's our chance," I yelled as Thrakos loomed before me, his sword flashing in the dim light. With a burst of speed, I dodged the blade and grabbed Lyra's hand, channeling the energy of the heart through her biotech. The air around us exploded in a blaze of light, and when the dust settled, the Thrakos squad lay defeated at our feet. We pressed on, Lyra and I moving in perfect sync as we harnessed the power of the planet. We battled through Archon's forces, our path marked by the ruins of the enemy's strongholds. The closer we got to the heart of Archon's stronghold, the more intense the resistance became. Finally, we stood before the entrance to the central command center, the air thick with anticipation. "This is it," I whispered to Lyra, my heart pounding in my chest. "This is where we take back Aethereia." With a fierce determination, we burst into the command center, our guns blazing. The battle was intense, but I knew I had the upper hand. I had become one with the planet, my connection to the heart of Aethereia guiding me towards victory. In the end, it was just me and Archon, the avatar towering over me like a monolith. Its eyes blazed with fury as I raised my hand, channeling the full fury of the planet through Lyra's biotech. The explosion of energy was like nothing I'd ever seen before. The command center shook, the walls crumbling as Archon's avatar disintegrated into nothingness. The stronghold began to collapse, the very foundations of Archon's empire crumbling beneath our feet. As we emerged into the bright light of day, the rebels cheering around us, I felt a sense of pride and purpose wash over me. We had done it. We had saved Aethereia. In the aftermath of the battle, I stood tall, my eyes scanning the horizon. The planet was healing, its ecosystem beginning to repair itself. The air was crisp and clean, the skies a deep shade of blue. I turned to Lyra, a smile spreading across my face. "We did it," I whispered, my voice barely audible. Lyra's eyes sparkled with tears as she nodded, her hand finding mine. "We did it, Alex. We saved Aethereia." Epilogue. As I stood on the edge of the newly restored Elysium, the wind whipping through my hair, I knew that this was just the beginning. Aethereia was free, but the galaxy still held many secrets, many dangers. I looked out at the stars, my heart beating with a newfound sense of purpose. There was still so much to explore, so much to fight for. With Lyra by my side, I took a deep breath, the weight of the heart of Aethereia still resonating within me. I knew that I would never forget the lessons I had learned on this planet, the sacrifices we had made. I raised my gaze to the horizon, a sense of wonder and excitement washing over me. The galaxy awaited, full of mysteries and challenges. And I was ready.